Good afternoon. Welcome to Lost for Words. I am Sarah Woods, and today we are outside, and usually I do these videos in the morning. So I think I've said good morning every single time that I've ever made one of these videos. So today I'm doing it in the afternoon. Today we are going to continue exploring our newest poet, Pandora. She is a poet from the country of Myanmar, and Myanmar is a place that is quite well known for being a dangerous place for poets to express themselves. Many poets in this country have actually lost their lives in their pursuit of the freedom of expression. So I feel like today we are going to explore a poem of hers that is very fitting. It feels like a poem where she is painting a picture of a person who is not easily oppressed, who is not easily treaded upon, who is not easily stepped on, someone you don't want to mess with, someone who is dangerous, and it's not worth trying to oppress them, which I love. It makes me think of I don't know if you've ever seen those flags that people have. They are like yellow and they say, "Don't tread on me," and it has like a picture of a coiled up snake. I feel like when I think of those flags, I always think of like rednecks and Republicans having them in the United States anyway. But what I love about her poem is that I feel like it makes that flag to me something that's more than just for rednecks. So let's jump into her poem. It's called The Venomous, and I will go ahead and read it to you. It says, "I get delicate each time I shed my skin. Don't you dare think I am soft. If I change colors, I only want to adapt to the shifting sand, to the strange waters. I am not the type that flaunts my neck hood for hissing and missing. My wink can smolder, my stare can hypnotize, my bite can snatch a fly. My head lying low doesn't mean I'm asleep. Clear your own path. Curl up in your own hole. Watch yourself. If you don't know anything, just coil up and be quiet. Don't you try to invoke my recessive traits. Next time, I won't just rattle." I love this whole poem, and I love the end where she says, "I won't just rattle." I feel like this whole poem is a snake's tail rattling and saying, "Careful where you step, careful where you tread. I am not as helpless as you think. I might look sleepy, but I am actually dangerous." This poem has the feeling of a person trying to paint themselves not helpless, to paint themselves dangerous, as someone you don't want to mess with, as someone you don't want to try to oppress or tell what to do, which I really, really love. But as she steps into the poem, she says, "I get delicate each time I shed my skin." I love that introduction into this poem, because for me the word delicate conjures up the idea of something feminine and soft. I get delicate each time I shed my skin. So we start down this path of something delicate, something feminine maybe, but then she steps into the next line and she says, "Each time I shed my skin." And you immediately are like, oops, like, let me step back. You have that feeling of like, I've stepped too close to something that I thought was just delicate, but really it might be a snake, it might be dangerous. It says, "Don't you dare think I am soft. If I change colors, I only want to adapt to the shifting sands, to the strange waters. I am not the type that flaunts my neck hood for hissing and missing." To me, as she paints this picture, it's something really beautiful. You think of something delicate, shedding its skin, the shifting sand, the shifting water, the shifting colors. It's conjuring, in my mind, something sort of beautiful. But she says, "I am not the type that flaunts my neck hood." So she immediately conjures up the image of a very dangerous snake. Like, as soon as you imagine a snake having the hood, for me personally, like, that is not a snake that I'm interested in messing with. But she is saying, I'm not the type that flaunts that. But it doesn't mean I don't have it. She says, "My wink can smolder, my stare can hypnotize, my bite can snatch a fly, my head lying low doesn't mean I'm asleep." So she starts to paint this picture of the snake that is not just delicate and soft, that is dangerous. She starts to talk about her wink, her stare. "Look into my eyes like you will be hypnotized. You will be my dinner. My bite is so fast I can snatch a fly. My head lying low doesn't mean I'm asleep. Just because I look soft and calm laying here in the grass doesn't mean I'm asleep." So as she is painting the snake more dangerous the farther you get into the poem, you can hear the rattle of her tail. Then in the third paragraph, she says, "Clear your own path. Curl up in your own hole. Watch yourself. If you don't know anything, just coil up and be quiet. Don't you try to invoke my recessive traits. Next time I won't just rattle." The beginning of this paragraph, she says, "Clear your own path." And I think this is the phrase that kind of reminds me of that "don't tread on me" flag. She's telling the person, she's telling someone, she's telling us, she is speaking to someone saying, clear your own path. Don't walk here. Don't step here. Don't tread here. Because if you step here, all the previous things that I've just listed for you is what you will be stepping on. You are stepping in a dangerous place. You are trying to oppress a dangerous person. You are trying to take the freedom of a dangerous person. Think again. She tells this person to be quiet, go back to their own hole. It almost sounds like she's calling this other person a snake too, which I think is kind of interesting. But she says, don't try to invoke my recessive traits. Next time I won't just rattle. So to me, that is one of the reasons this whole poem feels like the rattle of the tail of a very dangerous snake, saying, I'm warning you, you're getting too close. If you try to step here, it is not going to be good for you. I really like this poem because there is something about it that I feel like every single free human being needs. I feel like as a human being, no matter who you are, you don't want to be oppressed. You don't want to be stepped on. Even if you're You could be the smallest child or the oldest lady, the oldest gentleman. You could be an artist, a dancer. You could be a preacher. You could be a mother, a father. You could be a daughter, a son. You could work in government. You could be a police officer. You could be a teacher. Like, no matter who you are in the world, you could be a homeless person. You could be a prostitute. You could be whoever you are. As a human being, there is some part of us, I feel like, that wants to feel like when people happen upon us, that we don't look like easy prey, that we don't look like a place that invites oppression, that invites someone to step all over us and not take care of us and not care for us. It makes me think of the book called Clockwork Orange. But I feel like there are parts in that book where people are brainwashed into being so averted to conflict and to violence and to anything that was physical or bad, that they handicapped that part of themselves that would allow them to protect themselves, which I found fascinating in that book. And it's interesting because you don't want to be the person who is just wreaking havoc on the world, oppressing people, creating chaos. But you also, in the desire to create peace, you also don't want people to be so helpless and so averted to being dangerous that they can't even stand up for themselves, that they can't even protect themselves. So I feel like that's one of the reasons I really like this poem. There's something about it that conjures up a spirit of standing up for yourself, of danger, of not letting yourself be walked on, about caring for your own freedom. And I feel like she did it in a way that she said, I'm not the type that flaunts my neck hood. Like, she's not someone that wants to walk around making everyone terrified of her. She's not someone that wants to just walk around and people run in fear. But she is willing to shake her tail. She is still dangerous. She is willing to warn you and say, stop, back up. You're treading in dangerous territory. Which I love. I love the idea of being dangerous, but not using it to just cause chaos and fear all around you, if that makes any sense. I like the idea of being dangerous in a way that people don't want to oppress you. I like that. So Pandora, I love this poem. I feel like it is very fitting for a poet to write this, a poet from Myanmar. It almost also feels like a poem that could stand up to an oppressive government that wants to take away the freedom of expression. This is a poet who is saying, you can't have my words. And I'm also not just here to write about, I love to write. I imagine a poet, like, if a lot of people think of poets as they're just here to write beautiful things and love poems and all these sweet things. But really, a poet that knows their danger is a person that can't be, is a person that you don't want to step on. the artist, the musician, the poet, they have the power of honest expression. I love thinking about the idea that a poet or an artist or a songwriter, that they're not just people that are out there writing about pretty things, singing about love, drawing beautiful flowers, that they may do those things, but the person who has the power of expression and honest expression is a dangerous person that you do not want to step on. So, yeah. Anyway, I think I'm going to stop there. I appreciate you joining me this week. I hope you enjoyed this poem. I hope it inspired you, and I will see you again next time. Bye.